Morning. It's a bit early today, it seems. Hope you are having a good day. By the way, if you've ever tried adding background music to the stream, it never worked. At least not in the streams I've played. Yeah, I've had issues with that. Because I don't know what I'm doing. Well, good morning. Today I'm going to try and finish a character sheet. Might as well just get rid of whatever background music I was trying to put in because I don't feel like figuring that out today. It's very hit or miss sometimes. Good morning. It's time to color a side view. You don't know what you're doing, but you're still successful at it regardless. Yeah. You just organize my layers. I'll clean up the back sketch later. I love the fit for today. You look a bit like Carmen Sandiego. Thank you. The only reason I'm aware of that is, well, I don't know. Anyways. The real inspiration for this fit is a combination of Alucard from Helsing and Vash the Stampede. It's just, I can only do so much because I use the free version. This is what the jacket looks like closed. I made this for Halloween because I'm like, I want to make a Halloween outfit. But I only have the free version of Live 2D, so let's see how that goes. But I got it done in time for Halloween too, so that was fun. I don't want to look like that. Messing with the layers lags so much for some reason. I do not understand. I've heard a lot about Helsing, but I've never seen it, and the second name doesn't even ring a bell. Vash the Stampede from Trigon. Funny thing about Trigon is I watched it a little bit before they announced like the reboot anime for it. So that was funny. I got to watch the original 90s version and then I'm like, oh, they're redoing it to be more, I don't know if it's actually more accurate to the manga. It might be, but I don't know. I haven't watched Trigun Stampede, but that's like the reboot sort of anime. I will give it credit though, they got the original English cast for most of the characters. I know literally nothing about Trigun, but I've seen the name. Yeah. It's a fun one. It's like, well, if you're familiar with Cowboy Bebop, I think you might like Trigun. It's kind of within the same genre of like space western. And I think I just, yeah. It's got a western vibe, a low-key sci-fi vibe. Hellsing, on the other hand, is great. At least, the manga, because I read the original manga, and the Hellsing Ultimate, specifically. Because the original Hellsing anime came out in, like, the 90s, and it did not follow the story, But then they had like a 2000s refresh for that one, and it followed the manga more. Speaking of 90s anime, Evangelion is also excellent in both the English and Japanese stuff. So I've heard. So I've heard. But Helsing is fun. I don't want to spoil that one because it's an experience. It's kind of like getting into JoJo. It's an experience. Although with JoJo, I kind of knew some spoilers, but at the same time, it's like it was crazy. It was like it's fun kind of going into an anime not really knowing anything at all about it, other than just a vague plot description. So my expectations are not through the roof, and I'm surprised at everything. Well, speaking of Hellsing, there is a popular abridged version of it. It's very good, but I think Hellsing Ultimate by itself is like really good because it follows the humor of the manga, which is very weird. Which is what the 90s anime didn't really get a chance to do because the 90s anime takes itself a little bit more seriously. But the manga in Hellsing Ultimate, it's like, oh. It's kind of silly, but at the same time, I'm vibing with it. It's one of my favorite inspirations. Especially for how off the wall it gets by the time you like reach a certain point and you're like, oh, so that's where we're heading, huh? Well, apparently I did not know this, but they have an Alucard in, I think it's Call of Duty or something, I don't know. You get an Alucard skin or something. I've never played it, but I've seen it online. I'm like, that's an interesting crossover. So you're saying that if I want to get into Hellsing, Ultimate is the way to go? If you want the one that's closer to the manga. Because the 90s anime is a vibe too. I like the 90s anime's opening. Ultimate does not have an opening. It's like a special abridged, not special abridged. It's like a special, what was it called again? I forgot the word for it, but it's like a special OVA. So like the episodes are like an hour long for Ultimate, but it follows the manga a lot more closely. Thought Hellsing was a serious action anime. Yeah, it's still a serious anime. It's just, it does that thing where it balances out its humor with its seriousness. Which is something that the 90s anime doesn't really do. I remember seeing an old review of Hellsing Ultimate and Hellsing the 90s anime, and the person comparing the two was like, they liked the 90s one because it was more serious. Because the humor in Ultimate was kind of weird. But like, I read the manga, so I know that that's just the author's way of just adding humor. I don't care about it being manga accurate, I just want a good show. I don't read manga. Interesting. Well, both are very good. I give them a seal of approval. Because they're still very much the same thing. It's just one is more like manga humor, I guess is the best way I can describe it, but yeah. I like both. It's just that I prefer Ultimate because it has the characters from the manga that I liked. Same thing with Soul Eater. I like both the anime and the manga for that one. But obviously the manga has the characters that I'm like, oh yeah, I like those characters. I wish they got to be in the anime, but too bad they didn't exist at the time. Also, yes, Alucard was in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, to be exact, the new version. Yeah, I just remember seeing people share that online. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I don't play that game. But it's cool seeing him in 3D. It looks slightly unsettling for some reason, but I like it. Because, I mean, he is slightly unsettling for some reason. As a character design anyway, in both the manga and the anime. And you just look at him, you're like slightly unsettled. What about Berserk, or have you not seen any of those adaptations of the manga yet? I'm familiar with it. I have not actually read it for myself or watched it, but I should. But I haven't found it anywhere to watch it on. At least legally, I don't know. I would like to buy it, actually, but like they sell like those expensive hardcover versions of it. I do want to give it a proper shot because I've heard good things, very very good things. And I mean the character's been referenced in like almost everything. I think even maybe even in JoJo, I don't know. They were around. They came out around the same era, I think. JoJo and Berserk. That was definitely more of a manga reader when I was younger. So if I could grab my hands on a manga, then I probably didn't watch it. Well, I know that the 97 anime is viable on Blu-ray from Crunchyroll. Um, uh, I'm gonna be honest with you, I miss when Crunchyroll was a pirate site. That's all I'm gonna say on that. That's all I will say about that situation. I'm quite the picky person. I'm gonna clean up the edges on line art before I start coloring because it sometimes bothers me. I didn't know Crunchyroll was a pirate site. I thought it was always legitimate. Speaking of, did you know that its mascot was a VTuber once? Yeah, I knew that they had a VTuber mascot. But yeah, Crunchyroll's kind of old. Because I do vaguely remember trying to watch Blue Exorcist, and I used to watch it on, like, Crunchyroll back when it was a pirate site. It just, they ended up going, like, the legal route of, like, you know, actually buying the rights to air stuff, and they became, like, a proper studio thing. But for a moment in time, it was a pirate site. Because, like, I try using Crunchyroll, but, like, there's so many ads. And, like, we already have a bunch of other services, so it's, like, it's not worth paying for it. It's not anymore where my mom can find One Piece episodes on, like, Netflix or something. But I do want to make an updated version of this outfit because I want to add elements of the Dante from Devil May Cry. Because, like, the whole idea of this outfit was red coat protagonist. And Dante's cool. I don't remember, but I don't remember that, but I do remember when I was a kid that we had Netflix back when you had to rent movies and wait for someone else to finish watching them before you could watch it again. Oh yeah, I heard that that's what Netflix used to be. It was like a Blockbuster competitor for a time. And now look at it now. Though I do miss the local Blockbusters. It was always a fun trip. Like, yay, we're gonna rent movies, we're gonna have fun on the weekend. We're gonna have a slumber party. Although I do remember when they were closing down that specific Blockbuster, they were like selling some of the stuff that they had. And my dad bought like some Indiana Jones stuff from them. From the store, so that was funny. He really likes Indiana Jones. Yeah, I think Netflix only started going full streaming in the mid-2010s. Yeah, I think so too. I don't remember much. I just know that I only heard of its existence when it became streaming. And really started pushing the whole we're a competitor against Blockbuster thing. But it was fun while it lasted. By the way, I love the sideways angle of the sky. Yeah! Sometimes I think I don't do side angles very well, but then I'm like, nah, it's actually pretty. At least when I'm doing ref sheets and I actually have like lines to help me make sure that the face is still proportional. But sometimes I get lazy with side views. He is looking sharp. I showed the character design to a friend of mine and they were like, it's very pointy, very dangerous. I like it. He's leaning very heavily on the triangle shape language. You do every angle beautifully, don't worry, or at least every angle I've seen. Why, thank you, thank you. I just think side angles can be tricky. At least to do it like on the fly. But like I drew the sketches like with rulers and all that, so everything's like proportional. Like when I'm just doing something real quick, it's just everything I've done is very much self-taught. Which was kind of annoying when I went to university expecting to be critiqued all the time, and then they don't critique me because they're like, oh yeah, you understand what you're doing. that was a weird experience. Understandable, but sometimes side angles are better than forward-facing. Case in point, Phineas from Phineas and Ferb. I love cursed front-facing Phineas. Yo, I love that show, man. That show was so fun. It is a masterpiece of comedy, in my opinion. Same with Chowder. I remember when the show like first came out, I was never able to actually watch it because it came on when I had to go to bed. I'm like, oh man, but I want to stay up late today. It reminds me when Avatar The Last Airbender first premiered. I was so little. Oh my gosh. My whole family loved that show too. Oh, memories. And your professors were right. You really did know what you were doing, and you still do now. You could have taught your classmates a thing or two. Everybody had skill, man. Everybody had skill in my classes. I still talk to some of the people that I went to classes with. Although I think they help with more general, like, do you need ideas? I can help. Which is usually what I struggle with. They're great people to bounce ideas off. I was only a few months old when Avatar came out, and it ended when I was 3. I never watched it before during its reruns either, but I love it from all the YouTube videos I've seen of it. Oh! I feel old again. I was like 5. At least I think, yeah, I was probably 5, because I remember like watching the premiere in the kitchen. Because we used to have a TV in the kitchen near the dining room, because that's how our house was set up. And my mom would tell me and my sister to get off the counter. It's like, stop sitting on the counter, get off. At least that's when that first episode premiered. I do remember watching the season finale with my family. We were like, oh yeah, that's so awesome. As well as like, there was like a 3-day marathon of Avatar once, and that was the only thing on in our house for like that entire weekend. Bro, I was 6. Yeah, I was 6. Sitting on the countertops watching TV. Oh man, that's something. I was like 6 or... Yeah, I was like 6. I love that show. But did you see The Last Airbender movie? Asking if you're a real fan. Oh my gosh. You know, that's a funny story too, because like my whole family, we were like excited to watch the movie, and we came out of that theater disappointed. That was we wanted to like it. We were excited for it, and then we watched it and we're like, oh, okay. We'll just go back to watching it then. We'll just go back to the cartoon. speaking of, I tried to watch Legend of Korra. I liked that first season. It was interesting, but I couldn't continue. I couldn't continue Korra. It really did feel like that first season was the only thing that they were gonna do, but then it's like, oh, well, it's extra popular. You gotta continue. You gotta continue it now, but it's like, how do we continue? At least they got good dancers in the movie. Yeah. I mean, the choreography, I guess, is fine. It's just, it didn't feel like the characters. It felt a little too serious. And it's really sad that they kind of had to end on, like a sequel bait, I guess is what you call it. I feel like that also hurt it too, because it's like, oh, yeah, you want more of it, but at the same time, it's like, I don't want more of this. I see what you were going for. You tried. Although I did hear that the live-action Netflix show was pretty good. My mom watched it. She was like, yeah, it's actually pretty good. I still need to watch it, though. What made you not want to continue Legend of Korra? Personally, I liked the lore and how they blended the elements with technology, but I can see why people didn't like it from YouTube videos. Yeah, it's just, I kind of didn't like Korra. Because, like, the way her character was written in that first season, because I liked the first season. It was, like, short and sweet, and it really felt like a decent story. But it's like the fact that they had to try and continue off of that, and her character just felt like it was continuously flip-flopping in a way that was like annoying to me. It's like she didn't feel like she was having like a good character growth arc like Aang did. I was like, yeah. I guess it's also because she's supposed to be like a teenager too, so that's probably why it felt more annoying. Whereas Aang was like 12, he was younger, so it was easier to follow his character growth a little bit better, in my opinion. So basically, Korra was basically a proto-Rey from Star Wars. Yeah. I guess that's the best way to describe it, because, like, she worked for that short season. Because, you know, it had to be kind of condensed. They weren't expecting to make more episodes. So, like, having her already master a bunch of elements in the beginning before she had to, like, have her story as an avatar made sense for that. But then having to try and continue off of that is what threw me off with her character, because it's like, she's just, like, I wanted to like her. I really did. But it's like, it's just because, like, the way that first season started is like, Because, like, it was good for, like, a short story. It was, like, short, sweet, to the point. She learned her lessons about not being such a stubborn person, but then it's like, it kind of goes out the window later on, and you have all the extra drama and angst. At least we got to see Toph as if she were Yoda in that show. Yeah, it was nice at least seeing some of the characters, because, like, I tried to continue watching. For the most part, I just ended up seeing clips of, like, some of the characters later on, because, like, I wanted to keep watching, but, like, I had no interest. I feel like also the technological advancement felt a little bit too far. I don't know. I mean, it makes sense, I guess. But at the same time, I think it's just the aesthetic felt a little bit too into the future for it. I don't know. Hello, Katsy! We're talking about Avatar. Hello. Speaking of Avatar, did you know they once had a video on the official Avatar channel? I think White Iroh was a bad guy. I did not know that, and that is slander. Iroh was so great as a character. How dare they? I like reformed war generals. If I had a nickel for every time I adored a character who was a reformed war general, I'd have 2 nickels. Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. What's up, my gamers? Look at this fancy lad, almost done. I just need his face detail. Toothpick ladies. How's Burp looking? He's looking good. I think I linked the IRL video I was talking about when the stream ends, if I can find it. That's fine. I already know enough of IRL's lore anyway. So you went with the... Yes. Yes, I did. I went for the warm one. It is a juxtaposition of warm and trusting colors, but you should not trust this thing. It will ruin your life. Sorry. Do not trust him. Honestly, I think it matches the coat. Because, like, I really wanted the coat to be like owl wings. Kind of like how Crowley's jacket looks like crow wings. I stand corrected. I cannot find the video now, as the Avatar YouTube channel deleted it. There is a reaction to it by a channel, Movie Flame, that I will link instead. I will probably see that later. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe I will. I just think it's funny that there's like 2 characters I could think of off the top of my head that are like reformed war generals. Lilia Van Rouge, they will never make me hate you. No matter how many war crimes you committed. Oh, speaking of Twisted Wonderland, they released the last book 7 cards for Trey. It's amazing. I love him. I love the Baker Man. Good to know. He has a card and he's like a baker. And he looks so sassy. I love him. Did you see the Netflix Avatar show yet? I heard it's not as bad as The Last Airbender, but it's also not that good either. They removed Sokka being mean toward women, for instance. I did mention that my mom said that it was a good adaptation for some reason. I did not get to watch it. She did. She said you should watch it, and I'm like, okay, and I haven't watched it yet. Time to do war crimes, yeah! And by that I mean putting Lilia Van Rouge in the kitchen. I tried getting into Twisted Wonderland, but I got turned off because of the Japanese only dialogue. There is an English version. I will let you know. There is an official English version of this game. I just prefer the Japanese one. Because I was impatient and I'm like, I need this game now. I need the dialogue to be as close to Tiana's vision as possible. I'm pretty sure by the time the anime comes out, there might be an English version of the voice cast, but I'm not sure. I'm honestly low-key afraid of the English voice casting. Because, like, I just have, like, these specific sounds in my head of what I think they would sound like in English. And I have, like, a fan casting of, like, who I think would have been good for certain characters. But it's like, some of these people don't voice act anymore, so it's like, my vision is doomed. I didn't know there was an English dub. I didn't see the settings. Oh, no, I'm saying, like, there's gonna be, like, an anime adaptation of the game coming out, and I'm, like, pretty sure that if they add it on Disney Plus for an international audience, they might add other languages. But there is an official English translated version of the app where you know, can read it in English. But, like, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, at some point after the anime ends up doing well, they might add an English version to the English app. Like, I wouldn't put it past them to try that, because the English version of the app is a little bit different. It's run a little bit different from the Japanese version anyway. So, it's like, I have, like, this whole, like, idea of what I think these characters sound like in English, but, like, most of those people don't voice act anymore, so it's like, I don't know what they would sound like in English anymore. I was talking about the game dub, not the anime. I never even heard that there was going to be an adaptation. I follow quite a bit of Disney news. Well, it is in Japanese, but they did announce it. The funny thing about the Twisted Wonderland anime, they announced it like almost 5 years ago. This game has been out for like 5 years. They announced it pretty early on. And this game came out around like the end of 2020, you know, like the end of like 2019. It was like around there. And you know what happened during that time? You know what happened during that time, don't you? That thing got delayed so many times. And everybody's like, when are they gonna announce any updates on the anime? When? And like recently they were like, yeah, it's coming the end of October this year. Speaking of Disney mobile games, did you know that there's another RPG called Mirrorverse? Oh yeah, I've seen those. I've seen that. I've seen it in the stores. I know about that one. I mean, it looks cool, but I don't really play card games. At least those kinds of card games, I'll say, because Twisted Wonderland has cards in it. I also remember, didn't they try to make like a video game for that too? During like that Skylanders era or something? I know that they... Or am I getting that confused with Disney Infinity? I don't know. I remember that being a thing. That was interesting. Mirrorverse isn't a card game, you're thinking of Arco. Oh yeah. I've seen Mirrorverse. I remember seeing like figures for that too, so that's probably why I got it confused. Because like they kind of have similar aesthetics going on. Disney Infinity was the one during Skylanders era. Yeah, I remember that. I was like, wow, that looks so cool, but it's like at the same time, it's like, bro, you don't have money for that. This is a terrible model. A novel idea, but a terrible execution. Yeah, the difference is that Mirrorverse has more action hero looks for all the characters, while Infinity has their regular outfits. Yeah. No, I remember. I don't know, because some of that stuff kind of... Because, like, the Lorcana and the Mirrorverse kind of have similar aesthetics for some of the stuff that I've seen. That's why I got them confused. Do they still make Mirrorverse? I don't know. I mean, it looks interesting. I just remember when, like, I remember when they, like, made those Descendants movies, and I'm like, I don't like this. This lore makes no sense to my stupid little brain. It's like half of these characters are dead. That's what my little brain was like so caught up on. It's like, how can you have these characters be related to these characters if these characters are dead? Apparently Mirrorverse doesn't exist anymore. I think it'll shut down. Yeah. That's probably why I got it confused with Lorcana, because I think that's kind of what they replaced it with. I still think it's funny that my brain was like, I don't like Descendants. This lore makes no sense. These characters should not be able to have done this. And I guess that's part of the reason why I like Twisted Wonderland better, because like, oh yeah, these characters are definitely dead. Here's just the lore behind their antics. Because, like, nobody's confirmed to be directly related to anyone. But, like, the only exception possibly being Malleus Draconia because he's old. Well, I can say that as far as lore goes, Lorcana is night and day, I think, when compared to Mirrorverse, since Lorcana has more of a Tolkien feel, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything about it. I just see it. I see the design, and I'm like, they look interesting. But I didn't get any further into it. I don't know, when it comes to some of, like, these, like, Disney, like, lore crossover things, I don't know. I don't vibe with them that much. Like, the only exception so far has been Twisted Wonderland. And that's because it's more like, oh, these characters existed hundreds of years into the past. Their antics have been recorded in history, but oh. History's gotten a little mixed up, I guess. Oopsies. Well, the Disney Wiki has a lot to read about when talking about Lorcana, especially its lore. Lore is definitely in the name. I just remember seeing it in the gift shops. Honestly, I don't know if I can say that I used to work at the parks, but I used to work at the parks. So, like, I'm kind of familiar with some of these things. If you want a good Disney crossover, I recommend Dreamlight Valley and Kingdom Hearts. Ooh! I do play Dreamlight Valley, actually. I love that one. Even though I, like, breezed through everything because I started playing quite early on. Yeah, I like that. Dreamlight Valley is fun. Although I think they changed the voice casting after the second update because some of the characters sound weird when they didn't really sound weird before. That was just something I noticed, but yeah. That one's a fun one. Kingdom Hearts, I've only played the first game and I've never owned it. Every time I played a Kingdom Hearts game, I was either borrowing it or at somebody else's house. I did read the Kingdom Hearts manga, or at least what I could find of it back in the day. So like I'm familiar of it. And I played Dream Drop Distance and rage quit because I couldn't beat the boss fast enough. You play Dreamlight Valley, my ocean. Your taste is peak. I have not gotten far at all, but it's one of the best Animal Crossing clones I've played. Yeah. It is definitely fun, that's for sure. Kingdom Hearts actually has a few mobile games too. Yeah, I remember that. I just remember hearing about the one that they ended up like closing because it had like apparently one of them had some lore connected to like the third Kingdom Hearts. I think, I don't know. I just remember everybody was sad when it closed. They're like, no. But yeah, I rage quit Dream Drop Distance because I couldn't beat one of the Riku bosses fast enough, and it kept switching me from Sword to Riku so much that I'm just like, I give up. Take your game back. Because again, every time I've played a Kingdom Hearts game, it was never mine. I borrowed it. Like, here, my friend, please take your game back because I am angry. Have fun. Well, speaking of like borrowing games from people, I've done it a few times, but I remember that specifically I borrowed a copy of my friend's for Fire Emblem Awakening. And when I beat the game, I was like, man, I like this game. I need it for myself. And I replayed that game like 3 other times. I love Fire Emblem Awakening. I never got far in Dream Drop Distance. The furthest I got as far as the world completion, I think, was Paris with Riku. I don't even think I made it to Ratatouille. I was like stuck at like the Tron level and the Pinocchio level. Pinocchio was specifically for Riku because the boss fight was like, ugh. I was not quick enough. I could not master that one, that's for sure. I was like, bruh, I can't keep doing this. Help me. You need to take your game back or else I'm going to break my DS. I have only played Fire Emblem Three Houses as I am very new to it, but so far it seems fun. Prior to that, I never was even interested in Fire Emblem. I never knew about Fire Emblem until, like, Brawl, but I never played a Fire Emblem game until Fire Emblem Awakening, and I really liked that one, so I ended up getting like a copy of like Sacred Stones for the Game Boy, and I've been trying to play that for like ever, and I couldn't finish it. I do have Three Houses. I played Three Houses. I only completed one route in Three Houses. And I want to complete the others, but at the same time, I'm like, I started with Dimitri. I don't want anything happen. I don't want to see anything bad happen to Dimitri. He's been through enough. My man has been through enough, please. Do not hurt Dimitri. I love him. Oh no. Where's my folder of references? Dimitri is my favorite of the Three Houses characters. Which route did you play? I'm Golden Deer myself. Blue Lions. Again, I love Dimitri. I don't want to see anything bad happen to him. Okay. So it reminds me of Crom, but if Crom had a mental breakdown. Like I'm trying to get through Black Eagles because I want to get that out of the way before I do Golden Deer, because I know that one has more interesting like lore stuff going on. But oh my gosh, I don't like Edelgard. I don't like Edelgard. I don't care how hard you try to waifu her. I don't like her. She's too heartless in my opinion. I thought about Blue Lions because of the becoming a guard aspect, but I chose Golden Deer because it seems the most politically interesting, being a faction with many nations. Yeah. It's just I based my decision to go Blue Lions on like the three characters that we see. And I ended up liking Dimitri the most. Again, he reminds me of Crom, but if Crom had a mental breakdown. Like, I want to save Golden Deer for last, because that one seemed like the most interesting route to play. Edelgard is the worst house leader in my opinion, but her motives are understandable to a degree with her view on emblems. Yeah. It's like, it's interesting. Like, all the other characters in that house I like more than Edelgard. That's why I'm like trying so hard to get that one out the way, because it's like I know if I don't, I'll never get it done. Well, I got the main important parts of the ref done. It's just that with all my ref sheets, I like to add like a little thing in the corner that's more of like a style reference and a bit of like the personality of the character in a single image in the bottom corner, which is very optional, but the main part is very much done here. Especially with the color palette bar up there. It's a little bit messy, but I actually like the colors here laid out like that, because like it does give a very like warm vibe for a character who's not very warm vibes. Well, if it makes you feel better, at least Edelgard is at least a bad guy. Yeah. Yeah, the thing about like 3 houses, it feels like each house is like a different type of route to take, because like Blue Lions feels like a traditional Fire Emblem route. Edelgard's route feels like you're playing a villain. And Golden Deer is like a new kind of like, well, you're not picking a side, you're just trying to find the truth. Get to the answers. But the most important part of the ref sheet is done. He is complete. Last thing is just adding the little style thing in the corner that I do, and just writing down some extra notes, which I can just do that offline. I'm officially done with the ref sheet. Yay! And now, because like I usually just have a gray background because it's easier on my eyes, but like all the ref sheets have like a white background. Just keep them all uniform. But he done for now. And I will add a little thing for his eyes later. I just realized I need to do that. But like I could just have like one regular and then the other one with the activated power. But anyway, I'm off now because I'm going to eat lunch. I loved the more nerdy talk today. You have awesome media taste, so I thank you. Thank you very much. I am indeed a weeb. A nerd, if you will. And yeah, and my laptop's gonna explode if I don't close this, so have a good day. Goodbye. Adios. Thursday, I don't know if I'm gonna try for Thursday. I might not. I have things to do in life. But yeah. Fun stream. Nerd talk. Yay! Have a nice day. Adios. Bye-bye.